Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020 at 10 a.m. We're here to conduct a regular session of the Hunt County Commissioners Court. This meeting will be conducted by telephone or video conference in order to advance the public health goal of social distancing to slow the spread of coronavirus COVID-19. Due to the COVID-19 crisis, the governor's orders regarding social distancing and special rules issued by the state regarding open meetings, there will be no public access to the location described above. And for the public who's watching it online, we regularly have a time where we hear from the public and get public testimony. You can go to our webpage, huntcounty.net, and public questions tab, and you can type us a message to be read to us in court, or you can give us your phone number and we'll call you at that number at the appropriate time, and you can talk directly to the court. We'll normally do that in the first part of the meeting, but we'll postpone it a little while so that everybody will have a chance to get to our webpage and get messages sent to us. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order. And if everyone would stand for prayer and pledge of allegiance, Commissioner Martin will lead us. And Commissioner, I was asked if you would make a special prayer for the firefighters.
Yes.
We have a local firefighters there fighting. So.
Yes. Shall we bow? Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to come here and take care of the community business. We ask you to give us peace in our decisions. We ask you we do rightfulness. We ask you to use knowledge. We ask you to give us sincerity and also understanding with each other. We have a lot of things going on in this world that are turning people's life upside down. We have fires over in the west part of the country, and we do have firemen from North Texas going up there to help fight those fires. Here in Greenville, we have Crave Himes and about 5 others. We ask you to stay with them, protect them from evil. In reference to other things that are going on, as far as COVID, we have people that have lost loved ones. If you will, please comfort them. We have down in South Texas, and we have hurricanes coming in and people losing stuff. Please be with them. We ask you to give us knowledge as we make these decisions. In Christ's name we ask. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay, we have Commissioner Evans, Strait, Martin, and Harrison present. I'm Judge Stovall presiding over the meeting. Commissioners, you have the minutes from September 8th regular session and September 15th public hearing session. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll move down to old business, a resolution in order of the Hunt County Commissioners Court, Hunt County, Texas, amending Hunt County Resolution number 16,148 Flood Damage Prevention Ordinance. Daniel Wright.
This is the resolution we talked about last time, and you wanted a couple of weeks to go over and to have some time to look at it because it was only approved by the state agency just a few minutes before court last time. Generally, what David did was to go in, well, he talked about it all last time, but basically he updated it to include the new rules that have come out since this was first adopted. And some additional language was added in that the state requested that we put in. If you have any questions, I can get David to come over here and talk to you about anything specific, but this is the same thing that was presented last time. It's in the big packet that I just handed out. It's the first 6 pages.
Any questions? No question, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
And Judge, at this time, we don't have any public comments.
Okay. If we get one, just let me know.
I will.
Okay. Okay, new business, consent calendar. I entertain a motion for approval of consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 1, a resolution extending or modifying the April 28th, 2020 COVID-19 related resolution and social distancing guidelines to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
All right, in your packet, starting on the 7th page, is page 7 and 8, although they're not numbered at the bottom. This is the new version of the resolution. The only thing that's changing here are the dates to go. This one will go for 3 weeks because that's the time period until the next meeting on October 13th. And then on the second page under 2C, 2 weeks ago we had an item in there that said county offices will begin to keep normal hours. Basically, I just changed that. We'll continue to keep normal hours. We did talk last time a little bit about whether or not to change that even further today for increased courthouse access, but this is the what I have in front of you basically just changes the dates from last time. It doesn't increase access. So if you want to do that and include it in this order, we can discuss it now and add in some additional language.
Any comments? I guess we've been discussing with the district courts that they're going to start having jury trials or just trials October 5th. I believe they're going to, Amanda, they're going to pick a jury on the 5th, I believe?
Yes.
And then they'll start a trial on either that, on the 5th or the next day. And they're telling us we have to have the courthouse open to the public for them to be able to go to those trials. So we probably need to think about, do we need to put it in that order that on October 5th that the courthouse will be open to the public at that time?
Yes, at the end of the 2C, I guess at the end of the second sentence, where it says the public will have access to the courthouse by appointment only,
Right.
we can add in until October 5th, at which time regular hours will and access to the courthouse will resume.
Commissioners, y'all okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion for approval with that one correction or one addition.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Proclamation designating October 6 through 12, 2019 as National 4-H Week in Texas, and commend the 4-H Youth Development Program of the Texas Ag Life Extension Service and the many men and women who've made the program a success. We're all proud of what A&M Ag Life does with our kids and the programs they put forth, and I'd entertain a motion for the approval of the proclamation.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 3, the removal of Workman's Compensation Code 8859, volunteer all others section, per chapter 504 of the Labor Code. Have any questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 4, the final audit report of fiscal year October 1, 2018 through September 30th, 2019. Hot off the press. Here with us, Robert Lake. Come forward.
Through September the 20th.
You don't need a microphone.
Let me thank y'all for the opportunity to be here today, and I'll try to go through this report pretty quickly, just hit some of the high points. A little later than what it has been in the past. I spent 24 days at home with COVID, and so didn't get much accomplished in that time period, but I do want to take this opportunity to, of course, thank the new county auditor, Bruce. He's been very helpful in getting this, as well as his staff, and with the courthouse being closed and whatnot, it's just taking a little longer than normal, but we're happy to get it here today and get it behind us. So as you get ready to close out this year, we can start worrying about the next year. But let me start on page, I believe it's page 5, which is the independent auditor's report. It's actually on page 6. Where we render our opinion as to whether or not the financial information included here does in fact present a fair picture of the county's finances as of and for the year ended September the 30th, 2019. It's what we call an unmodified opinion. It's the best opinion that you can receive. And then we follow that up with a report on compliance and internal control. We're charged under government auditing standards to review compliance issues, things like whether you adopted a budget appropriately, whether you managed your budget properly, whether you got a valid tax rate, and some things like that. And so that's what this letter addresses and reports to. I'm happy to say that we didn't identify any kind of non-compliance issues that we had to report. The second thing it deals with is it looks at, we have to look at your internal control systems that are in place to determine whether or not we've identified any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in that internal control system. And we're happy to say that we didn't identify either of those situations. So overall, it's again the best report you can receive. And then from there, if we'll skip on over about 3 or 4 pages, we get to, starts on page 15, which is called Management's Discussion and Analysis. I'll kind of go through this because this kind of brings the whole report together. There's 2 sets of financial statements that are included in a governmental report. There are the fund financial statements, which is much like what you receive on a monthly basis looking at your financial reports. And then the other thing is what we call the government-wide financial statements. Government-wide financial statements, which are generally more reflected in this management's discussion and analysis, kind of present your financial information much like corporate America would. Full accrual accounting. You have your capital assets and all of your long-term debt reported in these sets of financial statements. So with that said, we'll turn over a couple of pages and get to basically the first table that's here. It's on page 17. This is the statement of net position. Net position, commonly referred to by most people through the years as a balance sheet. Here are your assets, your liabilities. We have what they call deferred outflows and deferred inflows, and then your resulting net position at the bottom, which is your equity. So you can see there our total assets increased from 64 million to a little under 69 million over the year. Our deferred inflows and outflows, the simplest way to explain that is those relate to basically your pension and your OPEB pension plans for your retirees and whatnot. And so while y'all do have some influence on how those things kind of play out, for the majority of them, these accounts that the deferred inflows and the deferred outflows basically relate to the assumptions that are used to arrive at that liability. And so while I say that you have some influence over them, the majority of them you really don't. That's the actuaries that are coming up with those numbers and how they impact your financial statements. And then, of course, the next section, the liabilities. Liabilities are what we owe to people. You can see there that we started off the year at 21 million, here at 32 million. The biggest chunk there, the biggest increase was in the area of your OPEB plan. This past year in 2019, you have to do that every 2 years, and so this was the year that they updated the numbers that had been rolled forward in the past, and so those numbers increased significantly. As they get a better job of doing the actuarial changes and whatnot, those numbers will be more consistent as we go forward. This is actually only the second year of what was called GASB 75, the accounting for that. And so the first year was kind of a rollover into this year, and so as now we've got the full implementation of GASB 75 in the books, I don't think you'll see this number fluctuate as near what it did this particular year. And then our net position is what's left over there at the bottom. You can see last year it was 42 million. This year it's reduced down to 41 million. The biggest chunk of that, or the biggest impact on that, was the OPEB liability, because it increased significantly. And when I say OPEB, I'm talking about the retiree health insurance program is what I'm talking about, so for everybody that's there. Okay, the next page you'll see the summary of the statement of activities. Here's your income and your expenses and whatnot. You can see here that our total revenues increased from 44 million up to 47 million. Our expenses increased from 42 million up to 48 million. So we went from a positive change in net position last year of 1.4 million to a loss this year of a little over $1 million. So overall, it's not something to be unexpected, and really the change there is impacted specifically by that change in the OPEB liability, because those numbers, as the liability increases, the offset is the expenditures, and so the expenditures went up as well, which drives the net position down.
A question, Robert. I assume that the insurance side of it, actuarial liability, is like it is on a retirement plan. It's calculated based on everybody that's working here retires, and we have to pay their insurance. Which
That's correct.
Only 30% of us will retire and ever use that insurance.
That's
Or
correct.
something like that. So it's really a kind of a, almost to me, it's a bogus number, because it's actuarial if everybody got there.
That's right.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
It's one of those things that, and the reason GASB 675 comes along is exactly what happened over in Dallas, where nobody's keeping up with the pension, and then all of a sudden, well, wait a minute, we need to be reporting those expenditures as they're actually occurring, and so that's what's happened. And so, not saying that it's exactly like the Dallas one, I'm just saying that from an accounting standpoint, that's what you see. All of a sudden, we have liabilities that we put on the books. Doesn't mean we changed anything of what we're paying and those types of things. It's just that, if everybody stayed on the plan and finished out, and all the current employees that we have went into that program, well, you'd have this liability that you'd have to pay out.
Right.
So-
I just wanted the public to be sure to understand that, and the court to understand that's really not it's not a real liability. It's an estimated liability on the worst case possible that
That's
could happen.
exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And don't get me to ask what an actuary does, because I tell you what, I didn't go to school for that. So all I know is that they start talking about mortality tables and all this kind of stuff, and I just sit there and say, okay, you're the expert, you're the guy I'm leaning on. So, but anyway. And then from there we go on the next page. There's a pie chart there. It kind of gives you an idea of how everything breaks down. And so the revenues, you sit there and you see that property taxes are, I believe that's 66% of your total revenues for this past year. And then you get to sales taxes, another 16% and whatnot. So you can see the percentages there. And then when we look at our expenses, we present our expenses basically in a kind of a functional category approach. And so what you'll see there, instead of looking at everybody's department and whatnot, well, what do those departments do, and what do they what is their function in any way? So you take general government at 17%. Well, that's the auditor's office. That's the county judge's office. That's, a variety of departments across the way. And so, but you can see they're at 70%. The judicial, that's all the court system and whatnot at 25%. Public safety is the sheriff's office. You can see it's 17%. The corrections and rehabilitations, that's the jail and those types of activities. At 15%. And then everything else there you can see. Infrastructure, the road and bridges and those types of things, 21% of your total expenses. So just kind of gives you an idea, an overall of how the money is split up across all of the functions that county government has. And then I'm going to skip through the rest of it. There's some information here. There talks about changes and percentages and whatnot, but I'm going to get on over to the financial statements themselves. Exhibit A1 on page 24, which is the statement of net position. It's exactly what we talked about in table A1 or in the first schedule that we talked about. Here's just some more detailed information here. We talked a lot about the OPEB liability and the pension liability. You can see there about 2/3 of the way down the page under the long-term liabilities. The pension liability at $8.3 million and the OPEB liability is a little over $11 million. I believe that was about $6 million last year, so significant increase. And that's why, when I kind of mentioned that out and show that the numbers have gone down, that's pretty much what it's all attributable, is that one number right there. But you can see there that the capital assets are spelled out, the cash, how much cash do we have, how much property taxes do we have out there as far as receivables go, our accounts payable, they're all spelled out there. So just gives you a little bit more detail. And then Exhibit A2 on the next page, this is a presentation that just so you'll know, it starts with the expenses that you have, which is kind of unusual for a financial statement. But what we do is we start with our expenses, and then we look at all the revenues that we generate and what do those things relate to. So if you take the clerk's office gets a fee and the clerk is in the general government, well then that fee is aligned with the general government line. So you can kind of see that what departments or what functions, I'm not going to say they pay for themselves, but they tend to help support themselves through fees and whatnot. So you can see there that the top line, the general government, $8 million in expenses, but we generated a little over $2 million in fees. So our net costs, the things that some people look at this schedule and say, well, what do the taxpayers have to support, or what's their taxes supporting? And you can see there, they're supporting about $6 million of the general government. And then you go down and you look at all the other categories there and what the taxes are supporting, because the taxes are shown as general revenues there near the bottom. So you start with the expenses, you show the charges for services, those things that we collect a fee for. Then we have operating grants and contributions that we get from various things. Capital grants, same type of thing, except those things are spent for replacement of vehicles or whatever might be there. And then so we show our general revenues at $39 million, and we come back to the same change in net position, little loss of a little over $1 million. Okay. And that ends all the government-wide financial statements. From now on, we're going to be talking about the fund financial statements. The fund financial statements, while they're not a cash basis financial statement, they do kind of mirror how cash flows through the system. And so this is the way that you see your stuff on a monthly basis. So what you got here is you got the balance sheet, which shows your assets and liabilities. The things that are missing from this set of financial statements is there's no capital assets here, there's no long-term liabilities. So that's why I say it's more mirrors how cash flows through the system. So what you'll see here is that the general fund had $23 million in cash and investments at the end of the year and $28 million in total assets. The capital projects fund had $12 million in assets, and then all the other governmental funds combined. Sometime we have questions about, well, why do we only put the capital projects fund? How do we arrive at what's here? Because there's, I don't know, I think there's something like I'll say like 68 funds that the district has, that the county has to maintain and do accountability over it. So why are we only showing these? Well, there's a definition of what a major fund is. You have to present each major fund in the financial statements, and then you combine everything else together. And the only two major funds you have are the general fund, which is always a major fund, and then the capital projects fund. So even your debt service fund doesn't rise to the level of a major fund. So that's why it's presented this way. But you'll see that our total, when we combine them all, $44 million in cash and investments and $49 million, almost $50 million of total assets. Then we get into the liabilities. The largest liability for most parts is your accounts payable. Then we've got some other things there, but your property taxes, the way you record property taxes as a fund basis is you record the receivable, but you offset it with a deferred revenue because you don't want to basically overstate your equity by recognizing that equity as a part of your money that you have, because we don't know when those that are delinquent are going to pay their property taxes. We know eventually they will, because I believe everybody ultimately pays their taxes, but so that's why that's on there as a deferred inflow of resources. And then the bottom line down there, the fund equity, we talk about fund balance, and we not the general fund balance at $13.6 million. The capital projects fund, restricted and committed. The difference there is that the restricted is the bond portion or component of that, and the committed is the money that y'all moved over into the capital projects fund during the year for future construction and whatnot. And then all the other funds, when we look at the other funds, I mean, there's all types of things. There's money that's dedicated to the county clerk, get down into the district clerk, all kinds of things, district court, judges. So those things are both committed and restricted and whatnot. Restricted basically comes from an outside source. There's some outside source that says, here's the money, you got to keep it up with it, and you can only use it for these purposes. The committed are things that basically are under the control of the county government, but they've been set aside for specific purposes and whatnot. So that's kind of the difference there. And then the unrestricted, of course, is what's available for y'all to expend. Then I'm going to skip over 2 pages, go to page 28. Here's your my partner would like to say your meat and potatoes. Here's your revenues, your expenditures, and then your changes in those things. So what you'll see there, total revenues for the general fund, a little over $35 million, and across all funds, $47 million. Our expenditures at $31 million in the general fund and $44 across all funds. Then we have some transfers in and out and some debt proceeds where we did some financing of some equipment and whatnot. So if we looked at the third line or the second line from the bottom there, the net change in fund equity, if you want to call this a profit organization, that's your net income for the year. That's what you made or you lost. You can see there the general fund lost $5.5 million this year. Capital projects fund increased, and then the other governmental funds. So overall, when you put all that stuff together and you say, okay, well, the county made about $3.7 million last year. Made is probably not. You just had revenues 3.7 more than expenditures. And so, okay. Then from there, we get into, the next schedule deals with agency funds. Y'all collect a lot of money that it's really not y'all's. Y'all have kind of a fiduciary role over that. And so this is kind of a combination of all those $4.5 million in funds that y'all have under your control that basically a lot of those things are things where they're collected in one place and they go to somebody else. They're not the county's money. Classic example would be in the tax office, the tax collections. They collect money for all the other entities. That money sits there, so at the end of the year we have to account for it as due to others. And so that's what that reflects. From there you get into the notes, the financial statements. I'm not going to read a bunch of them other than to point out a couple of things. You want to see what your capital assets are made of. There's some detail on page 40. I always point out the long-term debt, which is on 41. You can see there that we owe $5.5 million in bonds, $753,000 in capital leases. We've got a payment back to the comptroller that we're making, payments on a monthly basis, and then so anyway, there it gives you kind of the liabilities there. We started the year off a little over $10.5 million. We ended up the year at $9.5 million. So we basically reduced that by about $1 million. And then there's information about what kind of payments have got to be made over the next few fiscal years. And then we get into, and I know I talked a lot about the pension and the OPEB, but here's about 10 pages of information about notes. There's sensitivity information that has to be included in here. I'm not even going to mention it unless y'all want to go through it. We'll go on back to page 55. Here's a budgetary comparison. This is a required report or required information. B is included. Exhibit B1, which is the general fund budgetary comparison. You can see the revenues and what was the amended budget and what we generated, the expenditures and how did we perform against the budget that we had. And really, nothing really to note here other than we were below budget in all functional categories, which is great. So to the tune of about $2.4 million. And the actual column is basically the same thing that we saw up in exhibit, it's like A4 or something, the income statement, the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. Then from there's a bunch of schedules about the pension and the OPEB. And that's basically it. I know I've gone through it pretty quickly. I've tried to give you all accounting education on some things, but there's a lot of information here, a lot of moving parts to put all this together. And so, has anybody got any questions?
Any questions? We may have some after we have time to review it a little bit.
Well, okay, I get
guess
that.
we can call you, can't we?
You can. I'll be happy to come back and explain anything. Let me tell you, I was telling Stacy earlier, I'm glad to get this one delivered. It seems like I've been working on this one every weekend for the past 3 months, and so.
Well, you get to start up on next year's pretty quick.
Well, I told Bruce I want to get it done in January next year. I want to get this one behind me because this
Amen.
one has been a long time coming.
Amen. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank y'all, and as always, want to thank Bruce and his staff, Stacy, and the rest of the crowd. Pleasure to work with them, and they're very helpful in getting the information that we need. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. We're more than happy to come back and explain.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Entertain a motion for approval of the audit.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 5, a 1-year contract with HDL companies for consulting services related to sales and use tax in the amount of $2,500. Bruce, you want to explain that to everyone?
Yes, sir. We have visited with HDL company, I guess, right prior to the COVID coming in here, and they were actually going to come in and make a presentation at that point in time. But through the COVID time, they have provided us kind of a trial period to look at some of their information. And what they do is, since our sales tax is, as Robert mentioned, sales and other taxes was 16% of our budget, our sales tax is about 7 to 8% of our budget. And as we try to keep the tax rate low for our constituents here, we need to try to beef up our sales tax revenue. These people, what they'll do is provide us with reports that will show us details about our sales tax revenue. And the main thing we learned from them is that going back 2018, there was a court case of South Dakota versus Wayfair. And this had to do with interstate sales. And that, in conjunction with what our state legislature did last time, we were able to start getting internet sales tax money beginning last October. And it is based on the location of the delivery of the item. And during the COVID times, we have not lost any sales tax revenue compared to the prior year. In fact, we have increased. And so that is one of the main reasons our sales tax has increased. Other things we want to use them for is delinquencies. If we have some sales tax, I guess, vendors out there that are not paying their sales tax, they will help us, just like our delinquent property tax law firm. They will help us collect delinquent sales tax. Anyway, the cost of this is $2,500 for 1 year, but at the same time, if they collect delinquent sales tax for us, they get 30% of it, as well as even if we quit contracting with them, they get that for another period of time. But I feel like that's additional monies that the county will be able to pick up. And so I now, any questions?
Commissioners? Entertain a motion for approval.
I so move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Bruce. Action item number 6, the sheriff's and constable's fees with no changes from last year, effective January 1st, 2021. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 7, a corporate digital advantage agreement by and between AT&T and Hunt County Sheriff's Office for a 2-year term. Any questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 8, a resolution of Hunt County Commissioners Court, Hunt County, Texas, approving an interlocal agreement with the city of Campbell, wherein the Campbell cedes control of the extraterritorial jurisdiction of Hunt County. I had a phone call from the mayor of Campbell and asked us to take back over their the subdivision control and their ETJ, and that's what this is about. And Daniel Ray can lead us through the steps.
Yeah, basically, we have been, or Campbell has controlled its own ETJ for about 20 years. They don't want to do that anymore. They want to cede authority to the county, which basically means the county is going to enforce the county subdivision rules in the ETJ around Campbell. I talked with their staff members and the mayor and came up with this resolution. It's the next couple of pages in your packet. One of them is a real short resolution that just says we're agreeing under Exhibit A. And then Exhibit A is a little bit longer and just kind of goes through all the relevant code sections in the local government code that relate to ETJ subdivision regulation enforcement authority. And so if this is, I believe that the Campbell City Council approved this last night, and if they didn't, they will at their next meeting. But if you approve this, the only change will be that Hunt County will now be enforcing its subdivision regulations, including the new ones, a couple of months, in the area around Campbell, which is sure to grow soon. This doesn't directly address, but the implication of the law here is that whatever fees we would normally charge, those don't go through Campbell. They come directly to the county for the review of plats and other subdivision documents.
For a second, now this
Yeah.
thing's gone back and forth over the last 16 to 20 years. We had it, they had it, and all this.
Yeah.
What is, I haven't found that thing yet, what is the mileage outside of it?
Oh, I'm not sure. That's controlled by state law. I don't know if I ever looked up exactly what the mileage for them is.
Probably
I think
a
it's
half mile.
a half mile.
Yeah, I think it's a half mile. smaller cities. I believe that's correct.
It doesn't directly address it here because that's just a state legal issue. It's not anything that we would address for this. This is more of a higher level type deal where we're just talking about control of that, whatever it is, whether it's a half mile or a mile.
I just thought of something, Daniel. I don't know if it's addressed in that or not. I don't remember reading it in that in the documents you drew up.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, Campbell annexed like a 10-foot strip or a 100-foot strip along 50 and all the way out to I-30.
Yes, sir.
If it falls in one of those areas where it's in both, who has control?
It depends on where the entrance is.
Okay.
And so if the entrance is in their annex portion, then they will.
They will,
Otherwise, it'll
okay.
be the county.
Okay.
So we deal with that pretty often down at the lake because there's a lot of properties that are cut half in two by the Lake Tawakoni Planning and Zoning Commission because it's, a cloud shape rather
So
than.
it's
property
dictated by
lines.
where the access point is.
Yes.
Okay.
But they have extended my knowledge out there on I-30. In fact, they had storage buildings and stuff like that put out there. It would be helpful if we could get a copy of their city limits, and then we could put it with the packet that we have in our office.
I think it's on the Hunt CAD map.
It should be. Yeah.
You should
I
be
wasn't
able to
aware
get
of
that
the
from Hunt
recent
CAD.
annexation, but we can.
Yeah,
make
I
sure
ran
it's
into
updated.
it several years ago surveying something. And I want to say it was like a 10-foot strip. It was real narrow.
Nobody can do that anymore.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for approval of action item number 8.
I so move.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 9, the service agreement by and between Hunt County and the Messer Ford and McDonald P. LLC for the assistance in drafting a tax income reinvestment zone in Royce City. Daniel?
All right, this is the last document. It's the biggest one in your packet. It has the blue letterhead at the top. Basically, this is an agreement to hire Messer Ford McDonald to help us with the TERS drafting. This relates to that new housing development that they came and told us about 2 meetings ago that is right behind the high school in Royce City. And so basically, Joe Sovalon, I met with their developer and their legal guy a couple of weeks ago and went over the basics of what they're trying to do. This is a tax income reinvestment zone that's very similar to the one that's in Greenville. So the way that works is that if the property out there right now is worth $1 million, when they start building on it, every increase in that value, that difference, the delta between those two numbers is called the increment. And the increment, taxes that are made from the increment can be reinvested in that zone. And so basically they're going to put in multi-million-dollar sewer and well over, I think, in excess of $10 million of other infrastructure. And they're going to do it with an agreement with the TERS board. The TERS board is kind of a quasi-governmental board. It should have, I think there's 3 participating governments. Our government would be part of that, and the county commissioners court control over it would be limited to a single member out of the 7 members of the TERS board, exactly like the county appoints a member to the Greenville TERS board. And then that TERS board goes through an adoption process for this other document called a project and financing plan. The project and financing plan says what the money can be spent on. And so the idea here is to set this up, get the increment set in stone, or the value, the base value, so that we know what the increment is, and then the housing developer or anybody that's in the area that is part of this TERS can come in and ask that TERS money that relates to their specific property be used to pay for part of the infrastructure. So if they spend $20 million out there, and they increased the value of the property by $50 million. That $50 million, all the taxes that come from that would otherwise have gone to the participating governments, are put into a special fund, and the TERS board gets to make prospective agreements, not retroactive agreements, but agreements moving forward about how that's going to be spent. And the group that we're talking about hiring here includes Julie Fort. I hired her a few years ago to help unwind some of the problems that the Greenville tourist has had. I think she's really good at that. She is also the person who does most of that for governments in the DFW area. So we've already had several years of experience with their firm here at the county doing various different things. This is a big enough long-term job that I asked them to put together a special legal services agreement. So that's what you've got in front of you right now. So I can answer any questions that you have on that, or if you have general questions about what's going on with the TERS, we can talk about that.
Daniel, I think we're maybe moving in the right direction in reference to possibly going on getting these people involved for us. I'd like to find out one thing now. The way we're working with Greenville's been good, and has been very positive as far as infrastructure in the outlying areas. My question is this: now, for instance, this development that we were talking about is actually inside the city limits of Roy City.
Yes.
Okay. The money that we come up with as far as within Hunt County that we put in this investment zone, will this money, I would actually say, is Rockwall County doing the same thing?
They're not involved.
Pardon?
None of this is in Rockwall County.
No, I'm talking about,
Roy City is involved, but Rockwall County's not.
well, this, part of this is gonna be in ours, but will this money be used? For instance, we were talking here recently with the people that need the sewage, all the way into Rockwall County. Will this money be used in this territory that we're putting down, or will some of that money be used beyond the county line?
The plan right now is for all of it to be spent in that development. But the answer to that question, it can cross county lines, especially because it can be anywhere inside the corporate limits of Roy City. And some of that's in Collin County, some of that's in Rockwall County. The plan right now is to have a TERS map that just covers this particular development, but it can be expanded in the future. If it is, if they're looking at recouping new taxes or a portion of the new taxes in a part of Rockwall County, then that's a really complicated deal, because the TERS board would have to expand. There'd have to be all sorts of notifications about that. But that's not the plan right now. The plan is for the entire TERS zone to be inside Hunt County. It's immediately adjacent to the Rockwall County line. But the way that they're talking about setting this up is basically just for the development of this property because of the super high expense of putting the huge new sewer line in. It will impact parts, development to the north and to the east further into Hunt County. This sewer is unlikely to impact anything to the northwest and to Rockwall County, though. I mean, it's right on the Rockwall County line. But we can't tell for sure what it's going to hold in the future. But the initial plan right now, as it's been relayed to us, is everything will be in Hunt County.
Well, pretty much the way I understand it, Daniel, I mean, this development is on the east side of 2642, so it's not on that county line, but it's all in the Hunt County. The project cost, as I understand, they're wanting the TERS for, is to build a new trunk sewer line that will go to their treatment plant, which is in Rockwall County. Mm-hmm. And it will bring sewer out to this development, and it'll also open it up in that whole area. But that whole area that it'll serve primarily will be in Hunt County, because of that big floodplain, that big low area out there. The sewer line that's coming this way won't be able to service anything anywhere else because of the location of the sewer plant. And so I assume that this TERS, it can spend money on costs related to the development, doesn't have to be in the development.
Yes, that's right.
So they can do the off-site, this will be an off-site improvement so that they can do their development. And most of that's on the county line that it's gonna serve, it, on the south side of the interstate's probably already developed. That's in Hunt County. All except just due west of Bucky's for a little ways, I guess, is vacant.
Yeah.
And it might benefit from it. North of it, there's quite a bit of land that could open up to that sewer line.
Yeah.
I believe it'd be in our interest to have these people basically talking for us.
Oh, I
Sure.
agree.
I believe it would be great.
Yeah.
It's, one question, and we can talk about it later if we need to, but I know the other day we were talking about it with them, and it's all in ag now. So when this starts, all of that'll be rollback, so we'll get rollback tax benefit. But the differential you were talking about in current value and then the new development value, is that gonna be based on whether exemptions or what it's valued at without exemptions?
I don't know the answer to that.
I'd like to know
We'd
that.
have to look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not.
That's
have-
the
during
sort
the
of question
process-
that I just generally called Julie. I mean, I can probably text her right now.
No,
and
that's,
get that
I mean, I
answer
just,
while we're talking.
through the process, we need to know that. I'd like to
Yeah.
know that answer.
It's a good question, Jared.
Okay. No other discussion. I'll entertain a motion for approval, action item number 9.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 10, the fiscal year 2020 tobacco grant from the Texas Department of State Health Services, Texas School Safety Center Tobacco Enforcement Program. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 11, formal bid number 203-20, asphalt hot and cold mix, 12-month contract effective September 24th, 2020 through September 23rd, 2021, awarded to all qualified bidders per attached bid tabulation and local government code 262.027E.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 12, formal bid number 204-20, Road Rock, 12-month contract effective October 8th, 2020 through October 7th, 2021, awarded to all qualified bidders per attached bid award tabulation and local government code 262.027E. Entertain a motion for approval of action item 12.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 13, the proposal for Tyler Technologies for financial management suite software as a service agreement. This agreement is a 5-year agreement in the amount of $39,609 yearly, funding from financial software support line item number 10-612-3105-2242.
Make a motion to approve this.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 14, naming private road in precinct 3, private road 3299 due to 911 addressing.
I make a motion, we allow this to be done.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 15, the request to upgrade approximately 884 feet of County Road 1093 in Precinct 1. Money is in escrow.
I'll make a motion to approve this upgrade as the money's in escrow.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 16, upgrade of approximately 4,224 feet of County Road 2402 from rock to, 2502 from rock to oil sand in precinct 2 at county expenses. Old eyes don't always look good. Entertain a motion for approval.
That was, I don't know how that got in there. That was supposed to be scratched because 2502 was 5,280 feet, which is number 18. So,
So, okay, so we'll delete, action item number 16.
yes.
Action item 17, upgrade of approximately 1,584 feet of County Road 2293 from rock to oil sand at county expense in precinct 2.
I make a motion, we approve this. Most of that's coming out of the final part of my capital improvement, and what it doesn't carry, then the county expense will finish it out.
Okay,
Second.
got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 18, upgrade of approximately 5,280 feet of County Road 2502 from rock to oil sand at county expense in precinct 2.
Okay, this is under capital improvement. I make a motion, we approve that 5,280 feet.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Action item 19, the upgrade of approximately 1,052 feet of County Road 3313 from rock to oil sand at county's expense in precinct 3.
I'll make a motion, we allow this upgrade.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 20, the upgrade of approximately 1,554 feet of County Road 3239 from rock to oil sand at county's expense in precinct 3.
Your Honor, there'll be a correction. Reference to the county road is 3229. 3229.
Okay,
I do make a motion that we allow this upgrade to take place at county expense.
Second.
got a motion and second for the upgrade of County Road 3229. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 21, the upgrade of approximately 3,399 feet of County Road 3110 from rock to oil sand at county's expense.
I make a motion, we allow this upgrade to take place.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. The upgrade of approximately 3,741 feet of County Road 4309 north from rock to oil sand in precinct 4.
Make a motion for this upgrade from rock to oil sand. However, the money is in escrow for this one.
It is in escrow.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 23, the upgrade of approximately 500 feet of County Road 4309 from rock to oil sand at county's expense in precinct 4.
Yes, sir. This is just finishing it out to an FM road
Okay.
at county's expense.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Guess we ought to tell the public all these upgrades are being funded through our moving money out of capital improvements to fund some upgrades on our roads to try to get us better county roads situations going. And I hope the public is proud of what we're doing and thinks it's a good deal. Action item 24, the request to construct electrical power distribution facilities across County Road 2164 in precinct 2.
Make a motion, we approve this distribution facility under usual stipulations.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Final plat of Tuscan Estates Phase 1 in Precinct 2.
Make a motion, we approve this final plat on Tuscan Estates.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 26, the final plat for replat of lot 3R Griffin Industrial Park Phase 2. I guess we need to have a public hearing on this one, being a replat. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. At this time, I'll open up to the public comments for action item 26 on the final plat of a replat of lot 3R Griffin Industrial Park. Do we have any comments, Daniel? No. No comments on anything? If not, I'll close the public hearing, entertain a motion for approval of action item 26.
Make a motion, we approve this final plat for a replat.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 27, the final plat for the Pearson addition in precinct 2.
Make a motion, we approve this final plat in the Pearson addition.
You want to read your following conditions?
No.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Action item 28, the final plat for a replat of part of Lot 8 of the West Hill Addition Precinct 2. I guess we'll entertain, I'll open that up for public comments on this replat. No comments? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Entertain a motion for approval of action item 28.
Make a motion, we approve this final plat for a replat.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 29, the final plat for Onion Field Addition in Precinct 2.
Make a motion, we approve this final plat for Onion Field.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 30, the final plat for Hammond's Estate Phase 1 in Precinct 3. I've got a comment on this one. We've run into some difficulties on some of these plats where they're leaving a gap in it. This one, they had about 400 foot of frontage,
Yes.
and it's got a bigger piece behind it, and there's no way to divide it any further and meet our standards without building a road. I called Byline this morning and asked them if they would add a note to the plat on this one and the next one, 31, that says something to the effect that the developer is aware that the remainder of his property cannot be developed without the construction of an approved county road, and made that as a note to the plat. And he's gonna verify that he says that the owner already knows it, but just make sure that it gets out there. So, any motion for approval, I'll entertain a motion of approval of the plat with the adding of the note for putting on notice that they cannot divide the remainder of their property any further without the construction of a county road.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 31, the final plat of Hammond's Estate Phase 2 in Precinct 3. Entertain a motion with the same comment that a note be added to the plat that no further development of the remainder piece can be done without the construction of a county road.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 32, the final plat for LBC Addition in Precinct 4.
Make a motion to approve the final plat for LBC addition.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 33, the final plat of Easy Junior Edition Precinct 1. I noticed on that plat, on the Farm to Market Road, they got a 25-foot building line, and our rules say a 50-foot. At least my copy said that.
Yep. I would make a motion to approve this plat with the change from the building line from 25 foot to 50 foot.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of accounts payable.
I make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of line item transfers.
Make a motion to approve the line item budget transfers.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of budget amendments.
Make a motion to approve the budget amendments.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of payroll and personnel.
I make a motion, we approve payroll and personnel.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. This time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session under item,
I need to make a correction to action item number 2. That should state,
designating October 4th through the 10th of 2020 as National 4-H Week.
October what?
4th through the 10th.
4th through the 10th?
Yes.
Okay, we'll back up to action item number 2, correct the record. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of action item 2 with the correction to the agenda that the dates be made October 4th through October 10th, not October 6th through the 12th.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We good, Jennifer? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for going into executive session under items
1 through 5.
1 through 5.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We're going into executive session at 11:05. Thank you. Ready? Okay. It's 11:41. We're back in regular session. Is there anything else before the court today? Anybody else got any comments? Any comments from the public? No comments from the public. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 11:41.